everyone. I hope everyone is doing well. Happy March. I'm here to do a book update about what I read and show you a little bit what has been going on, what books I was able to get through and read in February, and talk a little bit about where I'm at now in my reading journey. And so, yeah, let's go ahead and get started. So February was a very interesting month reading wise. I went in there with a plan to do a bunch of like romantic reading. And I didn't read as much as I wanted to. I had about 6 books lined up, and I think I got just through, I think about like 3. It was very low in number, but one reason for that was because I kind of switched focus from being a reader to a writer. As if some of you don't know, I write as a hobby. I'm self-published on Kindle Unlimited. Well, not Kindle Unlimited, but Kindle. And I have a next book in my series about need to be written and get in the process of that being finished. That way I can edit and move on to the next one in the series. And so that's really what took up most of my time. And but when I did have a chance to read, I really enjoyed what I was reading. And I discovered, I didn't know this before, but Spotify has books, audiobooks. And so that was my discovery in February, which was really, really helpful. I really enjoyed that, especially when I had to do dishes. I just put a book on and listened to that. And yeah, that was really, really, really great. So, all right, I'm going to go ahead and get my list and tell you what I did finish. Okay. So, I have to go get this book real quick because I forgot to grab it. All right, so I did finish a book that was recommended by my kiddo for me to read, and that was Long Live the Pumpkin Queen by She Earnshaw. I believe I'm saying her last name right. I don't know. If I am, I apologize. And this was a really great book. I think I finished this within 2 days. For me, that's a really big accomplishment. Sometimes I've kind of gotten on as I gotten older and life has gotten busier. Sometimes it's really hard for me to hold on to a book that holds my attention for that long. That's one reason why I write short stories too. But anyway, about this was really, really interesting take. It was fantastic to revisit this fantasy, as this is based off The Nightmare Before Christmas, so it was really great to go back into that world with Jack and Sally and all the characters from Halloween Town, and also explore new holiday worlds. This is really what this was about. Part of I was really fascinated about, because first it starts off with Jack and Sally getting married, and they go on their honeymoon to Valentine Town. That's one reason why I picked this, because I really wanted something that was Valentine energy and theme. And so and it was really, the main character here was actually Sally this time, and her story and her struggle with changing roles and becoming a queen. And and it was just a really beautiful journey. I loved it. It was really, really fantastic. I rate this 3 stars. I wanted to give it a 5-star, and I probably would have, especially since with how quickly I devoured reading it. But I love the atmosphere. I loved the new story, the plot line. I won't go into too much of the plot line because I want it to be a surprise for all of you. But I really did not like how this author portrayed Sally. It seemed like Sally was a completely different character than she was in the movie. Um, she just had a lot of insecurity. I'm just going to leave it at that. And even my kiddo, they thought it was like Sally really kind of bugged them. And I read the reviews about this, and some have felt the same way too. So if you do pick up this story, just keep that in mind, that Sally is not how she's portrayed in the movie. She's completely different. But if you ignore that and you just really want to go on the journey of like being in that world again, I definitely recommend picking it up for that reason. All right, so the next book I finished, which is kind of the theme of like Valentine's romance, I finished The Cowboys Forever Valentine by London. I can speak. I'm sorry, it's the end of the day. I'm getting tired. Linda Olson. And here's the cover. I already returned it on Kindle. I read it from my Kindle. And yeah, I gave this a 3-star. And it was a very sweet story. It was very sweet. It was definitely very Western. It was pretty much about second chance of love. I'm going to just kind of leave it at that. Where, yeah, the main character, oh gosh, I forget her name now. I'm sorry. But she was running a ranch after her father died, and it was kind of like arranged marriage where she had to marry her ex-boyfriend who left her at the altar to hold on to the ranch. And there was certain reasons why he left her at the altar that he never really explained. And so it's really like a second chance of love kind of story. It was very sweet, but it was kind of lengthy, and most of the length I was very like annoyed with some of the characters, where it was like she just really had a hard time forgiving, and that took up a big portion of the story, and so that was a little hard to get through. But overall, I liked the story because it was very sweet. I liked the atmosphere. I loved the way she described the scenes and working on the ranch, and kind of they have a Valentine's dance, and it was very sweet. So that's what I read there. Let's see, what else did I get? Okay, so the next book I read was actually, I think, the only prompt I was able to get through. I didn't really follow my prompts too much from last month, but this is Fire Cider by Rosemary Gladstar and Friends. This was for my nonfiction book, and I was recommended this by a friend. Well, sort of. She talked about it on her TikTok video, and I don't know, it just sounded interesting because I wanted to learn a little more about fire cider and recipes. We're in the midst of a big cold and flu season, and I have one recipe for fire cider that I made the first time ever in the beginning of fall, and it's been helping keeping things, knock on wood, at bay. But I was always interested more about like the history of fire cider, and this book talks about it, and a little bit of like a lawsuit that went about the name attached to the name of fire cider, and then of course all kinds of different recipes. And so it was really fascinating to read that, and I'm excited to try a few new recipes when making some cider. Okay, so I have a couple of physical books that were a little unplanned with reading. I found at the thrift store during Valentine's season, and they're really just like recipe books and like little quotes and beautiful art. And so this is Love from the Heart of the Home, Susan Branch. This one was really nice. I keep it on my kitchen table, and it was nice to like pick this up in the morning while I was planning my day and drinking coffee or tea, and just needed something to lighthearted to kind of browse and look through. So a lot of it's pictures and quotes and philosophy, and it was just a sweet little book. And another one I've been kind of doing the same is The Wisdom of Flowers by Liz Marvin, illustrated by Rosie Doro. And so it's essential life lessons and joy and well-being. It's just a beautiful book. I'll show one picture. I wanted to show that. Well, how about the lavender? Lavender's very pretty. So be proud of what you can do. Oh, I'm going to bookmark. Here's another one. Here's lilac. So really beautiful, like artwork. This one says "Be generous." So it was a lovely book just to kind of wake up to in the mornings when I need something to browse and sitting here at the kitchen table planning my day. So I like that. Okay, so that was what I finished last month towards books. I did start a few things, and like I said, I discovered audiobooks from Spotify. I have a Spotify, so I usually listen to music when I'm doing dishes or whatnot around the house. Some of you may see, like, I dance sometimes around in the kitchen. So music's always going. So when I found out that now there's audiobooks on there, I was like, ooh, that's good. I picked an old favorite of mine. I read this when I was a teen, and that's Aragon. I do have a physical copy of it, but I'm kind of following along with the physical copy, but not too much. I'm just usually listening to it when I'm doing dishes, and I'm really enjoying this. And I did pull a prompt, and so one of my prompts I got for March was a book that has at least 500 pages long, and this one is 754. So that's a good long book. So that's one of the prompts I picked. Another book I am currently reading, that's actually a physical book, because I found this at my local bookstore. As some of you may know, Jodi Thomas is one of my favorite authors, and I found a Western of hers that I didn't know about, and I found it and I picked it up, and is To Wed in Texas. And so pretty much what it's about is about, so far I'm only in chapter 3, and it's hilarious. I haven't laughed so much in so long in just 3 chapters. This book is so funny. I love Carly. That's the main character so far. She's a spinster, and she's never really felt like she belonged in her family, and her family is already notorious for being different, but she is like really different and even has a hard time fitting in with her family. And she travels west and unexpectedly to go help her cousin's widow, which is the male hero, and he's a preacher, and he's living in a town which is really has the concept of Wild West, and very wild and untamed, and lots of crime, and he's raising 2 daughters. So far, I don't know why he's chosen to live there. All he's just saying is that he has a mission to make things better. And he's also very interesting. He's very shy, while Carly is very outspoken. His name's Daniel, by the way. And he's like so caught up in his purpose, and that he hasn't even had the chance to name his twin daughters, which I think is kind of weird. Like his twin daughters are 3 years old, and he calls them twins. And even Carly like mentioned that. I was like, dude, that's really weird. But I love how she's introduced to the family. It's I don't think I should spoil anything, but the way she arrives, it's hilarious. There's so much humor so far in this book, and I'm really enjoying reading it. And yeah, when I see my bookmark, I can open this. After our cat's named Hufflepuff, but since it's getting close to Easter, they drew Hufflepuff the cat as a bunny rabbit, and it's just so cute. And that's my bookmark. A little more humor. Okay, let's see what else. All right, a book. This is another prompt a book I have started, and also based off a prompt for March, and that is Where the Heart Is. I didn't really knew that this was. I saw the movie, and I absolutely love the movie. It's one of my absolute favorite movies, and I didn't realize it was based off of a book. And so far, I'm on chapter 2, and it's just in that really beginning stage where Noveline, I think, she had, well, she's 7 months pregnant, she's 17, and she's traveling across the United States with her kind of deadbeat boyfriend, and he's not dependable. They stop at Walmart, and he abandons her at Walmart, pretty much. And so I won't give too much away, but she has to really kind of be creative and helping support herself. And I'll mention this, that she ends up living at Walmart for some time and gives birth at Walmart. It's a very interesting plot, but it's a beautiful, beautiful story. I already know that because, like I said, I've seen the movie, and it's one of my all-time favorite movies. And so I'm glad to be picking up this to read. All right. So another one I pulled was reread an old favorite. So I'm kind of getting done with winter. It's been very cold, been very snowy and wet, and I enjoyed it, but now I'm like, I can feel spring is in the air. It's very sunny today, which I'm grateful for, and warmer. So now I'm like, yes, yes. So I'm ready for the change of season, and this is definitely one of my favorites. I'm trying to remember if it's the last one. No, it isn't. There is one more after this. This is the Wallflower series by Lisa Kalpaz, and this is Scandal in Spring. And yeah, this is definitely one that's really beautiful. I usually read the series quite a few times over each year, so I'm glad I get a chance to read this again. And it's just, as you can see, it's just beautiful artwork. I was wondering if I should show the inside. Oh, I will hold that one. Isn't that pretty? I like old-fashioned like romance covers like that. So I'm really excited to read this. It's pretty about Daisy. Daisy's a writer, and she's a daydreamer. She's kind of always like lives in her daydreams, and she comes from a very much working class family her father's very much like an entrepreneur, wants to make money, and he's kind of fed up with her taking her time being her, daydreaming. And she's at that age. This is in the 1800s, takes place in London. They're from America, but he wants her to marry, and he's tired of waiting for her to make her decisions. So he sets her up with a business partner who he wants to take over the business, and she doesn't really like him, but because she thinks that he may just be another version of her father. And it turns out that he isn't. He's actually very, very nice. What's his name? Matthew. His name's Matthew. So it's a very, very sweet book. And I'm looking forward to rereading that again. Right. Oh, yeah. I have to go grab this one because I forgot it. Just a sec. Okay, so the next prompt is a cozy mystery. So I was really excited to get that one because I recently got this one. It's A Sparkling of Murder by Darla Wood Goober. So pretty much it's about Courtney. She loves fairies. She's also a landscaper, and she opens up a shop to teach people how to make fairy gardens. And anyway, there is a murder that takes place near where she works. So yeah, and I have a feeling like she's gonna have to figure out, how that happened, and just to save her business and all that. So that's what I'm looking for, and I'm thinking that's really cool for like spring. It looks very springish. So look at this pretty cute little kitty. Fairies. So I love fairies. So I know it's not technically like fairies, but has kind of that theme. So all right, and the next one I got was a book inspired by the last TV show you watched. Okay, so this was kind of hard to go off. I don't watch a lot of TV. When I do, I usually watch YouTube, and I've been watching Under the Tin Roof. It's a lady on here, and so I was like, what can I base it? So she does have like a little thing where she does like Little Women based Christmas meals, and so I do have a copy of Little Women. I most likely will get to it by audiobook and doing dishes, but I do have a copy of that. Another TV show, if like I really want to say like I did a TV show, I watched the first episode of Santin on PBS, but I only watched one episode and I didn't get to any others because I guess Prime took it off. I only got through one episode before Prime took it off. So I would have to kind of look around and see. I mean, I have a lot of historical, and Santin's basically about a heroine who she lives at a sea resort, and it's by Jane Austen. I've never actually read Jane Austen. I mean, I've seen movies Jane Austen, but I even had a hard time getting through Jane Austen movies. Oh, look at me. I prefer like Little Women and like Secret Garden. Those are kind of my my like classic genre. But I do like historical romance, so maybe I can find something in there. If not, I think I'll try to go with kind of Little Women based off Under the Tin Roof YouTube, and her little cooking video where she cooked all the like different dishes from Little Women's like Christmas breakfast. So I think I may go for that. If I want a new audiobook to listen to. All right. Let's see. So I did start a couple of other books. I did start another audiobook. I do have a physical copy of it, but my kiddo is actually reading it right now. And while I'm listening to the audiobook, it's Howl's Moving Castle. I forget who the author is because I don't have it with me right now. Anyway, it is based off a movie. I love the movie. The movie is one of my favorites. And so I thought I will listen to the book too while I do dishes, and it's been enjoyable. It's definitely it's similar to the movie, but a little bit different. Like Sophie is very different from the movie, and but kind of cute. I like how Sophie in the book is. She's very, very charming when she's under her spell and becomes older. And Hal is Hal is completely different than the movie, and he's a little harder to take in the book. His ego is huge. Let's just say that his ego is huge. And if you've seen the movie and you thought his ego was bad in the movie, in the book it's completely worse. So yeah, that was the other one. I'm also reading a book. I'll pull it up real quick. This is called The Bookshop and the Barbarian by Morgan Stang. That's the cover. I have a Kindle copy. I have a physical copy that's coming in the mail because I can tell you right now, I've been reading this for 2 days and it's so good. I can tell this is going to be a 5-star read for me because first and foremost, it is so funny. It's hilarious. I cannot stop laughing when I'm reading this book. And it's pretty much, it's called a cozy fantasy, which is like a totally new genre for me. But kind of not, because I do read, I have read Dealing with Dragons. That's like another book series I love, and this kind of reminds me of that. It's about someone, oh gosh, what's her name? I gotta look up her name real quick. I'm terrible at names. Okay, Maribel. Okay, so Maribel, she buys a bookshop in this little cozy town that has an obsession with pumpkins, and that's always a plus right there because I'm obsessed with pumpkins. And anyway, there's something in, I'm not going to give any spoilers. Something goes wrong in the bookshop where she has to hire a barbarian, which is Asteria. And Asteria is this giant woman who kind of reminds me of Xena, Warrior Princess, like kind of the vibe she gives me, but a little more mild-tempered. And anyway, she helps with the problem. And anyway, it's just like her little adventures of like trying to get this bookshop established in this town, have people learn to read, and it's so funny. It's just hilarious. And there's narration in the book, and the narrator in the book, best I could describe it, if you ever watched The Muppets with the Swedish chef, and you put on the captions when he's doing making popcorn, it's that kind of narration. It's just really, really funny. It's just, the humor in it is just, yeah. And so I can already tell, if you can already tell, I'm already lit up and so excited when I'm reading this book. And so I'm really glad that I'm going to be able to get a physical copy because it's so funny. It's so funny. I can't put it down. It's really, really good. So I know for certain it's going to be a 5-star for me. All right. Let's see. What else have I been reading? Okay, I did start 2 other books. 3 other, actually. I forgot to show you another on my Kindle. Just one moment. Okay, this is Anastasia by Sophia Lark. I watched one of Darlene Dessie's. She's a YouTuber, and she recommended this book. And I love Romanovs and that history, and I also love Anastasia the movie. This is more based off the movie than actual history. I'm chapter 2. So I'm reading this very casually. It's on my Kindle Unlimited, and so far I'm not sure how I feel about it, because like the beginning chapter, there's quite a lot of violence, and it was actually kind of sickening for me to read. I don't like a lot of blood, guts, and gore. I'm not going to even say any more than that. Let's just say there's lots of violence in this, especially with like magic, and so I'm not sure. I did like the previous chapter when it talks about Anastasia and her family. Um, I feel like it offers a little more in depth, so I'm taking it casually and see if I can get through the squeamish parts for myself and see if it will really pick up. Because again, I really love the history and I really like the movie, and so and it was highly recommended. So I am going to just keep at it and see what happens. All right, and lastly, another audiobook I am casually listening to is the 12-week year. Let me see if I can see who wrote it. Okay, so it's the 12-week year, and I'm listening to this as an audiobook, and it's by Brian P. Moran and Michael Leonton. I'm basically reading that because I have some big goals that I kind of want to get through, and some of it has just been kind of sitting stagnant for a while, and so I'm going to see if this method may help me break through that barrier that sometimes gets in the way, and I just want to see if this is a method that may help me, and so I'm exploring it right now and seeing if this is an option I want to do. If worse comes to worse, I mean, I'm not really afraid of failure. I mean, you always gain something from failure, right? That's how my philosophy. You learn something, and I figured, I'd get a little bit further on some of these goals, dreams, get through some of that stagnation some way or somehow. So yeah. So I'm going to be brave and see if it works for me. All right, so that is pretty much it. I don't know how much I will get through. This is kind of a slow week for me. I'm fighting off colds, and knock on wood. That's why I was talking about like fire cider. And so I've been kind of taking care of myself, and so I have been reading more this week. For the rest of the month, I will just play it by ear because I do have some editing I have to do. I may have to get back in from reader to writer mode at some point, and and we'll just see what happens. Also, I may be starting doing this kind of content on a different channel. So if you just see me on here, and this may be the last video see me on, or one other video, I don't know. I'm thinking about a name for a new channel that just really where I just can talk about my reading and maybe some writing here every once in a while, but that way it's doesn't influence too much of my other aspect of my life as a psychic and that side of my business. And so if you see me on a different channel name, that's why. So anyway, that's what I have for you, and I hope you all have a wonderful month and you read all to your heart's content and you explore all these beautiful worlds of literature. Bye for now.